Setting up an Ableton session. I've been focusing on session view in Ableton to demonstrate some of the more unique and powerful features of control surfaces. But for a straight up recording session, we have a few MIDI instrument tracks and some audio tracks. I recommend going into the arrangement view by hitting the tab button. Boom, there it is. Tab button back to session, tab button back to arrangement. We still have the same 2 MIDI tracks and 2 audio tracks as a default. We have 2 sends here, a reverb and a delay. I'll show you what's inside. Okay, there's the reverb, and you can change this to any kind of reverb. You can change it to be any other audio effect that you want. These are just the defaults. And down at the bottom is your master track. 2 things. You notice these numbers are not zeroed out. This is the master volume. And for that track, which is a master track, and this is the Q volume for your headphones or click. Turning on the click here, choosing a 1-bar count in is going to be necessary. And the reason I brought this down is the default level of the click is generally really hot. That's a little better and less likely to bleed into your microphones. Definitely use closed back headphones or earbuds to monitor a click. I often take a pair of earbuds and cut off the right bud, so that only the click is coming in the left and there's no chance of external bleed. All right, so back to Ableton. Let's go from the top. Let's see, here's our sync in-out indicator. We're not going to worry about that right now. There's a tap tempo. If I click on it, it'll approximate my tempo. Okay, I'm going to put that back to 120 for now. Manually. BPMs. Okay, these are nudge buttons for syncing with external instruments, etc. Here's our tempos. We can go up to 99.4 or 99.1 and only up to 16th subdivision. So 99.16 is about as extreme as we can get. And back here to our click. If it's yellow, it's engaged. I suggest starting with a 1-bar global quantization. It keeps things starting at the beginning of the bar, which is generally desirable. This will cause the cursor to follow along as you go, and this is going to tell you where you are in your arrangement. Again, if you double click on the stop button, it puts you back to the beginning. Here's your play button and your arrangement record. Here we have MIDI arrangement overdub. This is an automation arm. If you engage it, it will record any expression pedal data that you can go and change later. And if it got disengaged, this will re-enable it. This is an amazing feature, Capture MIDI. If I was goofing around on my keyboard and, oh God, I wish I'd have recorded that. All you have to do is hit this button and boom, there it is. You can't hear it. We haven't put an instrument in there yet, but that's what I just played. So that's a very valuable tool to remember that exists. Okay, and this is record over to the session view. Here's your loop and punch in, punch out. You can change these, setting them to your bar number, etc. Punch in, loop, punch out. And here's a pencil tool, draw mode switch. You can actually draw in MIDI notes if you want. This means that the keyboard on the computer can actually play notes. You play around with it. You'll get used to it real fast. It works great in airports. Key will allow me to learn some functions from my computer keyboard. Say I want playback to be assigned to the number 1 key on my computer. Stop to 2 and record to 3. Okay, just click them and type them in. So now I'm going to hit the number 1. Boom, there it goes. 2 would stop. Wow, awesome. This is a key MIDI indicator for when you're playing and it's receiving. It's good to know if something's not working. And here's your MIDI learn. Say I wanted to add an expression pedal or a mod wheel effect to something. We don't have any instruments yet, so I'm not going to really get into that. You can take the trig class to learn all about that. It's very powerful. Here's our CPU meter, and this D is basically telling us you've really overloaded it. And these little guys at the end are MIDI in-out indicators. And this also is the same as the tab button. This is arrangement, see, going horizontal, and session going vertical. Okay, back down to our tracks. And I think we're ready to add an instrument to our first MIDI track. So I go to my instruments. I open the browser here. Just a reminder, click on that little triangle. Here's all the different Ableton instruments, and I like operator. Let's try one. Let's just drag it on up to the first track. Okay, that works. Click is on. I'm just going to record a couple bars worth of music. That's pretty fast. I think, oh, we ended up at 141. Okay, cool. 120. Try that. I'm not a very good keyboard player, as you may have noticed. Click on this. Boom, delete it. It's that simple. All right, let's try this again. And I'll stop. Double click to see the MIDI information down here. This is where you see MIDI or audio information. This is where you see the instrument that you're playing. There it is, the operator. Oh, it's a very, very deep and cool instrument. And that would be a compressor that is going off in my front yard. Okay, so I have this, and I'm going to, well, let's see. Let's double click on the title bar and see how accurate. I wasn't very good at the top there. So I'm just going to slide that over. This one too. I can quantize, but this looks pretty good, so I don't want to mess up the organicness. Wow, really good. I'm amazed. Lining up with those big beats. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Select there, copy there, again, and one more time. So if I play it back, let's go and hit double click the stop button. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Okay, looks good. Let's bring in a drum track. Drums will collect all the drums you have in your user packs, in Ableton, all over the place. I'm Polish. Akłaszki. Akłaszki beatbox. I'll put that there. Okay. See how that goes. All right. Okay, we're going to bring that down too. Yeah, most of these instruments come in pretty hot. Alright, lovely. I'm just going to go for it here. And notice, once I've laid an instrument into a MIDI track, it automatically record enables that track. So I'm going to hit the stop button, record, will give me that 1 bar count off. Oh, totally rocking. Okay, stop. Hello, stop, thank you. Let's take a look at that. not too bad. The hi-hat's off a little bit. Okay, so do a little bit of quick MIDI editing. First of all, let's look at our quantization settings under Edit, where we can constrain the text to a grid. 16th, that's about as fine of a grain as I go. So I'm going to quantize to 16ths. If I had triplets, I'd go 16T, and it should kind of get it. Hit OK. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. And that quantized the entire thing. What did it? Maybe. Looks like it might have. Let's just go ahead and quantize the rest for sure. You select it. Hit. Command U is quantize. Bam. Okay. Yeah. One thing I'm noticing is that the hi-hats, if we turn this little headphone on, you can hear that, are too loud and unpleasant as well. If I select them all and drag down, that's going to bring all of them down in relation to how they were played, which is great. So it's not all perfect. All right, so maybe that's a little too low, although I do not have any high end anymore. Whoop, playing drums for way too long. Select that. Please protect your ears, people. Okay. That's better. Okay. I can live with that. All right, then let's use this little tool to drag up right in there. If you see the magnifying glass, you can make the view a little easier to see. So I'm going to copy that. I think I just did it. Okay, yeah. Paste and paste. So now we have a lovely 2 tracks happening here. So let's record some audio. Let's use the next available audio track. Record, enable that. Let's see, what kind of acoustic audio would I like to record? Cowbell. Okay. You cannot have a recording without cowbell. Laying down some cowbell. Gotta have cowbell. Let's look at that. A little early on the first one. Okay. This one's a little early. Let's see how that sounds. Put it all on the back side. Right on. Okay. How do we bounce all of this? Well, I guess I better just add that to this whole length of the track. Okay, there we go. All right, now to bounce all of this so that you can share your music with others. I mean, why live in a vacuum, right? We're going to go to File, Export Audio Video. You can work with video only in the arrangement view, not in session, but you can have a video file that runs along and you can be scoring it. It's a very nice feature. Okay, so what we have, master track. Yeah, I want to record what's coming through my master track right now. You can record all individual tracks, which is great. Render start, 111, that's the very beginning. Length is 16. I'm going to change that to 19 so that the tail doesn't get cut off at the end. And if I were recording individual tracks, I could decide to include return and master effects as reverb and delay, but I'm recording the master, so it will automatically record those. Creating an analysis file is important for Ableton to not have to reanalyze samples every time it plays this file. Encode PCM. Okay, do you want a wave, an APE, or a FLAC? You can decide for yourself. Wave and APE are very popular. Jumping down here, MP3. This will make a second recording as an MP3, which is a much smaller file and a lot easier to send around. For reference, you can put this on SoundCloud for me. And here's where you select your video creation. So I'm going to hit export. Give it a name of V. I like V. And let's toss it into our CalArts ScreenFlow video. Munch, munch, munch. Recording audio at 40K. Reset and encoding the master. Analyzation. Okay, let's go to the Finder. And ScreenFlow, CalArts videos, V. Okay, we've got an MP3, the analysis file of the MP3. We have a wave and the analysis file of the wave samples. So if I just click here, I can. Oh, that's just so rocking. We just send it right off to the record company, okay? Look.